For this one, I'd like to bring on Misha to talk to you about collateral markets and how do we get trillions of dollars on-chain for everybody to use. So please give him a big round of applause.
Hey everyone. Yeah, my name is Misha. I'm co-founder of Symbiotic. And I'm on this stage to talk about how we see today and tomorrow of our industry and what problems we see and how we are planning on fixing them and helping fix them. So yeah, our industry is around 18 years old, which is kind of strange to say because it seems like a really long time. But for actual financial system, it's just in its infancy. And for basically the entire time, our focus was in building infrastructure. So we were building, like the first blockchains that we built were really slow and really expensive and not that secure. So basically the use cases were limited to people that were trying to role play the cyberpunk or just speculate. And that's it. In 18 years, we've built a lot. So basically, like you can see the funding routes to analyze what was the most influential and the most focused ones. So the biggest ACOs, the biggest funding routes, the biggest impact protocols were always and chains were always infrastructure. So L1, L2, data availability, whatever, right? And it resulted in that we now have blockchains that are not bandwidth bound anymore. They actually have enough block space and enough bandwidth to, well, for most of the blocks to not be full. And we have strong bridging infrastructure, oracles that let blockchains see outside of to the outside world. Yeah, so basically we did good. And like what we were trying to focus on this is retail, right? Like how can we get another like million users to our industry? The other part of finance was not present at all, almost, right? They knew about us, we knew about them, but we were not like communicating in any significant way. So they had like proof of concepts, like Quorum and other chains that were not blockchains at all. They were just like run by one validator and never like actually doing a lot in relation to us. But I guess we were so successful that we kind of reached the point where environment changed and the traditional finance are actually interested in what we do and actually want to be onboarded, be on chain. Yeah, so why is this even important? Yeah, we have traditional finance, they finally are interested, like why do you care? Like they were kind of hostile to us before. Why it's important? Because they have money, like a lot of that, like way more than we ever got on our own. And why it's important? Because they represent basically the entire economic engine of our civilization. So we can basically like try and onboard another million people, and it's gonna take us like a few decades, maybe like a few years, depending on how optimistic you are. Or we can onboard one bank, or like half a bank, and like we'll get the same, right? So we've been preparing for this mass adoption for a really long time. Like, are we ready? Like, do we actually have? Like, did we build anything that we need for this? Well, yes and no. Yes, like we kind of have two options as we see. So the first one is, yeah, it's kind of like onboarding in a really wide sense of the word. So you basically have like tokenized funds, and you have like RWAs as just the receipts. So they're using the blockchain part as mostly a database, right? You just like get yourself some receipt issued, and it's kind of in your wallet. It's not self-custody anymore because you can't actually do anything with that. It uses blockchain, but if it's get hacked or like transferred anywhere, it doesn't matter because you can just call and say like, guys, I am KYC entity that you sold this receipt to. I kind of lost my wallet. Can you just like send me another receipt to something else? So it's not like in this way, it's not composable with DeFi. It's not it's not taking advantage of the things that we've built just beyond pure L1s. It's not connected. It can't be used in lending protocols and can be used in CDP. It can be used in AMM. It's just like it will have kind of decentralized exchange that you can trade it on, and that's it. Scenario 2, which I find like way more interesting, is where it's composable. It can be liquidated. It can have the same rails that we use for DeFi. And it can actually be like self-custody. It can actually be somewhat ungated. And the things that we've done, the flash loans, the looping, the other things that are kind of unique to us can be performed with that. So yeah, I'm not going to cover here like the entire problem set that we have here, right? I'm just going to cover the things that we at Symbiotic are actively working and deploying for this. It's going to cover around like 60–70% of the entire pie. So I'm like honorable mention, right? We need a stronger DID system just to make onboarding easier, right? Like how can I like feed the entire KYC set of my 20 million users to DeFi without like opening anything up? So like ZK, we kind of have every primitive. We are just not focusing on that in Symbiotic right now. But like we might. So yeah, like first one, private credit. This is kind of the big word lately, but it was powering the entire economic engine for last like 10–15 years. Basically, like everything is handled by the companies that issue credit. And we didn't have that. Ava can be like another lending markets can be used like taken as a really narrow use case of like credit facilities. They're not like they're not in the usual sense because like they can't issue financial guarantees. They can't do a lot of things that actual banks can. So a few months ago, we as Symbiotic helped launch the CAP protocol. They're basically providing financial guarantees and three-side marketplace for private credit. That they currently, as far as yield is always going around, but they provide the highest yield for if derivatives if you don't loop. Right now, they received through us 220-something million USD delegations. And they're growing for a new financial primitive and a new protocol. It's kind of amazing what was accomplished. But without private credit, yeah, if you only can use your money on chain, that's gonna hinder the like the amount of funds that you like and strategies that you can use is severely hindered because without private credit, actual like traditional finance is not possible. Yeah, the other thing, and like we talked about this a lot, like every conference that I attend, everything is so optimistic. Everyone is like discussing ideas and it feels like you can do anything. But we always have as an industry the dark undertones. Like another protocol just got hacked. Like every conference, like I can't remember any conferences that we didn't experience that. And it's always on the back of the mind of people. And in DeFi, people kind of are way risky, like way more comfortable with onboarding risk. In TradDeFi, yeah, like again, option 1, option 2, right? We want the second one. And for the second one, smart contracts are really important. Not the only mint and burn one, right? But like the actual smart contract, the complex, the architecturally significant smart contracts, three-way marketplaces, collateral market platforms like ourselves. And it's not possible for us to onboard the next wave of TradFi if there is no cover for the risk. So this is the second punch that we are working on. We are working on this with Nexus Mutual, basically the first coverage protocol in the entire industry. And we, same as CAP, we will be helping them to get the second loss coverage for, well, hopefully the entire new DeFi RWA and both RWA and like native. And like again, same with CAP, the role that we play in this is try to decrease the gap a little bit between capital providers and demand for the capital and collateral. How we do it? It's through really flexible, capital efficient deployment methods. That's hence the collateral market. So in terms of why insurance is not here, why we have like a really low TVL securing, like for Ava it was like 200 million securing 20-something billion, right? The situation is like this because, again, you need a really high capital efficiency. Either really high capital efficiency, either smart contracts that cannot be hacked. In the absence of the second one, we need to figure out the first. The other part, right? And this is like the thing that people don't talk enough about, but like reporting. Traditional finance requires sophisticated reporting. Like you need to be able to do apple-to-apple analysis, right? And if you have like the normal person like can go to a website of any DeFi protocol that we have and just like see, okay, like I invested like or I deposited 10K and now I have $10,100, right? So that's my profit basically. And like the yield, yeah, on one website it's like 7-day yield, on the other website it's yield that actually accounts the growth of the asset, the underlying asset. So like Bitcoin grew by 10% and that like the protocol gave you 2, so the API is actually 12, right? It's sometimes misleading, sometimes just inaccurate. So yeah, like, and this is the part we actually can do way better than traditional finance because we have one source of truth. We have on-chain data, right? But it still needs to be combined in a way that's sustainable, that can be done en masse, that has like the methodology that can be audited and implemented in a way that you can actually do things that are automatic as well. So we are currently helping Hive to build a reporting system that has actionable elements like real-time liquidation triggers, automated audits, like the entire data is on chain, of course. Again, guys and girls, option 1, option 2, right? We can do it the stupid way or we can do it the native way. So Hive is with us working on delivering the option 2 here. And this is the big one, right? RWAs are not liquid. Like they cannot be integrated in the current DeFi because they're not liquid. Like 90 to 100 days sometimes for the redemption. Like you can't liquidate them. Net asset value is updated sometimes daily, sometimes weekly, right? How if you have like this really slow pace of updates for prices and you have really long redemption windows, how they can be integrated in DeFi in a safe way? They can't. So we at Symbiotic are working on a liquidity solution that will make any RWA immediately liquid. So why us, right? Again, we are like kind of like that's what we do, right? And why us and why it's haven't been done before? The answer is the same, right? We currently have RWA protocols solving this because this is the biggest problem there is. We have tokenizing platforms trying to solve that. In basically, like you can group that in two ways, right? So first one is they straight up don't deploy half of your funds. They just like deploy only half of it, and then because now not everyone is going to withdraw immediately, they kind of have a buffer. And this buffer, it's not getting the yield from the RWAs. So you basically like sacrifice half of your yield just to have like early redemption for the half of the funds that you have there, right? So like still not solving the bank run scenario, but like gives you some some portion of the users some way to get out early. The second group is that like we used our own money as a platform, right? Like we go, like we are token issuer, we raise some seed funding, and we get like, and we handle again only the portion of the funds, but we give you some daily liquidity for the people who want to get out. Why they're using their own funds? Because nobody will supply them with if they're not taking the funds from the investors, nobody will actually be interested in supplying that. Because we have a chicken and the egg problem here. RWAs are not as prevalent, and they don't have enough flow. So a lot of people are not depositing their funds into RWAs because they're not liquid. And because they're not liquid, they don't provide a flow, and they're like really small volume. So it cannot be solved, like in my view, it cannot be solved from the platform side. So that's where we come in. We combine the flow from every tokenized platform, so it becomes way more capital efficient to hold these funds and provide it to multiple demand-side protocols and RWA protocols. Moreover, in Core V2, we have updates that are enable to deploy capital to multiple sources. So with that, this instant liquidity will become available to people. Yeah, so instant liquidity is launching Q2, early Q2. Nexus is launching early Q2 as well. Everything else is live. So, yeah. I think if we solve this, these 4 problems, it at least will enable us to speed the adoption time at least like 5 times, and like to onboard as significantly more funds this year than we did last year. And yeah, it's our pie to eat. Thank you.